I thought transition was supposed to feel more certain, more confident, more put together. I thought if I was doing it right, it wouldn't feel so hard. But what I didn't understand then was this. The discomfort wasn't a sign I was doing it wrong. It was a sign I was doing it at all. Because seamless transitions, yeah, they're a myth. What's real is this awkward, uncertain, quote unquote, I have no idea what I'm doing, space. Hi there, I'm Wendy Rimmelsbacher, and welcome to the podcast show, Dim to Daring. Do you feel like there's something bigger waiting for you, but you're not sure how to make it happen? You're in the right place. I'm here to bring you inspiring stories, powerful insights, and practical strategies to help you reignite your spark, realign with your purpose, and take those bold steps towards the life you were meant to live. Let's dive in, because you're not finished yet. You're just getting started. Welcome. I'm so glad you've tuned in with me today. You know what nobody really tells you about big life changes? They don't show you that middle part. In my previous episode, I talked with you about being grateful for who you're becoming, for that version of yourself that's emerging through all the brave choices you're making right now. And I hope that resonated with you, because today I want to talk about what that becoming actually looks like. Because here's the brutal truth. Transformation isn't this smooth, graceful arc from point A to point B. It's messy and it's awkward. And I will always be honest with you about this journey. And then there's this whole middle part that nobody posts about on Instagram. I'm talking about that season where you've left something behind, but you haven't quite arrived at what's next yet. Where you're too far from where you were to go back, but not quite close enough to the new thing to feel like you belong there. Instagram's version of transformation is the before and after photo. It's clean, inspiring, done. The box is checked. But the real version, it's so much messier than that, and it lasts a lot longer than anyone wants to admit. That uncomfortable in-between space, that's where I want to spend some time with you today. Because here's what I know for sure. The messy middle isn't a detour from your transformation. It is the transformation. And the sooner you stop waiting for it to feel seamless, the sooner you can start appreciating what's actually happening there and start celebrating your journey. Let me tell you about a season in my life that felt like I was living in two worlds at once. I had made a decision to shift directions professionally. I, in fact, traded my calculator for a microphone. And I knew the move was right. Part of me was genuinely excited about it. But I was also terrified because I was leaving behind an identity I had built over decades. Here's what my fear kept whispering. If I went backward, I'd be uncomfortable staying comfortable. If I kept moving forward, I'd be comfortable being uncomfortable. And honestly, neither option felt great. But I knew this. I was leaving my burnout behind. No question about that. On paper, it looked like I had it together. I was learning new skills, making moves, taking steps. People would say things like, "Wow, you're so brave," or "It's amazing what you're doing." And I'd smile and say thank you. But inside, I felt like I was fumbling through every single step of my transformation. Every step, I had a zillion questions that I didn't know the answer to. Some mornings I woke up energized thinking, yes, this is exactly what I'm meant to be doing. And other mornings, I woke up in a panic thinking, what have I done? I don't know my next step, and I don't even know who to ask for help. I'd be in my Speaker Sisters group, surrounded by these capable, confident women, outwardly participating while my inner voice was screaming. They're going to figure out you don't belong here, is what my inner voice was telling me. Or I'd run into someone from my old world and they'd ask what I was doing now, and I'd stumble over my answer because I didn't yet have clear language for it yet. I wasn't the old thing anymore, but I wasn't quite the new thing either. I was between. And what made it harder? I thought I wasn't being authentic, that I was an imposter. I thought transition was supposed to feel more certain, more confident, more put together. I thought if I was doing it right, it wouldn't feel so hard. But what I didn't understand then was this. The discomfort wasn't a sign I was doing it wrong. It was a sign I was doing it at all. Because seamless transitions, yeah, they're a myth. What's real is this awkward, uncertain, quote unquote, I have no idea what I'm doing, space. And that's the exact place where real change happens. Here's why you think transitions should be seamless. Because that's what you see everywhere. You see the announcement, the celebration, the I'm so excited to share post with professional headshot and the polished caption. You see someone leave corporate and launch their dream business. You see someone else pivot careers and land the perfect role. You see someone retire and suddenly they're glowing with all these hobbies and freedom. And it looks easy. Like they just decided one day and boom, new life unlocked. But what you don't see is the 6 months before that post when they were terrified, fumbling, and second-guessing everything. You don't see the restless nights, the imposter syndrome, the grief for what they left behind even though they chose to leave it. You also don't see the awkward conversations and maybe the financial stress or the identity crisis. The moments they cried in the bathroom because it all felt like too much. You only see the finish line, not the miles in between. So you assume, if my transition feels this hard, I must be doing something wrong. But know this, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just doing it honestly. Transformation isn't a light switch. It's not off to on. It's more like a hermit crab searching for a new shell. Exposed, vulnerable, soft in between the old shell it's outgrown and the new one it hasn't settled into yet. That moment looks fragile, but it's not a weakness. It's growth, and it's supposed to feel uncomfortable. So let me tell you what actually happens in the messy middle, because I think if I name it, it loses some of its power to make you feel like you're failing. First, you're going to feel like a beginner again. Yeah, even if you're confident and capable in other areas of your life, this new thing, you're starting fresh, and that's humbling. You'll say things wrong. You'll ask obvious questions. You'll make mistakes. And that doesn't mean you don't belong. It means you're learning. And remember what I talked about in the previous episode. Every time you do something scared, that's a rep. That's you building the person you're becoming. Second, your old identity and your new identity are going to overlap for a while, and it will feel weird. You might introduce yourself differently depending on the room you're in. You might still be doing parts of your old life while stepping into something new. And that's not confusion. That's what the transition is all about. That's what it looks like when you're between chapters. Third, you're going to grieve what you left, even if you chose to leave it. And this one surprises people. There's some safety with what you've left behind. Excitement and sadness can absolutely coexist. Grief isn't the opposite of gratitude. It's proof that what you did mattered. And fourth, you'll doubt yourself. Often. Trust me. Especially when the uncertainty kicks up all those familiar stories. I'm too old. I should be further along by now. I look foolish not knowing yet. And yes, reaching out to that person for help again. Those stories aren't the truth. They're fear trying to pull you back to what's familiar. And here's the big one. You'll think you should have it all figured out by now. But transformation doesn't work on a timeline. It works on readiness. And readiness comes from staying in the discomfort long enough for something new to take root and putting in the reps until it builds your confidence. Here's something else I've noticed. Many of us never really learned who we were outside of our roles: daughter, professional, wife, mother, caregiver. So when a role shifts or ends, we don't know who we are anymore, and that feels awkward. And that's not a personal failure. It's simply something no one taught us how to navigate. And that's okay. You're learning it right now. I want you to know that the messy middle isn't wasted time. It's not the annoying part you have to get through to reach the good stuff. It's the part that's actually building what comes next. You're learning resilience, showing yourself you can handle uncertainty and not fall apart. You're learning discernment, what energizes you versus what drains you, what feels aligned versus what doesn't, and you can keep shifting. You're learning patience, the active kind that trusts the process instead of forcing the outcome. And you're learning self-compassion, choosing kindness over criticism when things don't go perfectly. You haven't lost yourself. You've just lost one way of expressing yourself. The core of who you are, your values, strengths, and your heart is still there. It's just finding new ways to emerge. And that's exciting. And on the other side of this, you won't just have arrived somewhere new. You'll trust yourself differently because you'll have proof that you can walk through uncertainty and come out okay. So if you're in the messy middle right now, here are some things that might help you. 1, stop apologizing for being in process. You don't owe anyone a polished version of yourself. The "I'm still figuring it out" is a perfectly valid answer. You can be uncertain and still be on the right path. 2, this is an important one. Find people who let you be unfinished. Not everyone needs to understand your transition. Find 1 or 2 people who can hold space for the messiness without trying to fix it or rush you through it. 3, track the subtle progress. When everything feels uncertain, look for small evidence that you're moving forward. Maybe you finally voiced your opinion in a meeting instead of holding back. Maybe you connected with someone living the life you're working towards and asked to learn from their experience. Or maybe your win for today was simply showing up and trying again. All these moments matter. 4, let grief coexist with gratitude. You can miss parts of your old life and still be excited about the new one. Both things can be true at the same time. And 5, trust that this season has purpose. This messy middle isn't a mistake. It's not something you're doing wrong. It's the path. And every person who's becoming someone new has walked through their own version of this. So where are you in your messy middle right now? Maybe it's a career shift or the empty nest. Maybe it's a relationship change, a health adjustment, or you've achieved a big goal and now you're wondering what's next. Whatever it is, you're not lost, and you're certainly not behind. You're becoming. And the discomfort, that's the proof. If there's one thing I hope you take from today, it's this. Feeling unsettled doesn't mean you're failing. It usually means something is changing. And if you listen to the previous episode where I talked about being grateful for who you're becoming, this is where that gratitude really gets tested, because it's easy to celebrate growth once it's polished and visible. It's harder to stay kind to yourself when you're standing in the messy middle, when things feel unfinished, unclear, or uncomfortable, or all of the above. But this chapter matters so much too. You don't have to rush through it. You don't have to label it. And you don't have to have it all figured out yet. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply stay present, trust that something is unfolding, and keep showing up, even when you don't know what the next version of you looks like yet. This is part of becoming, and you're not behind. You're right on time. A mentor once told me, the caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly overnight. It dissolves into goo first. And that's where you might be right now, the goo. Not broken, not failing, but transforming. So if you're between chapters, identities, or versions of yourself, stay the course, breathe, and trust yourself. The butterfly is coming, but for now, embrace the goo. Until next time, keep choosing her, keep celebrating her even in the mess, and definitely keep becoming. Thank you so much for joining me today on Dim to Daring. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love it if you subscribed, shared it with a friend, or left a review. It helps more women just like you discover the show. Remember, you're not finished yet, you're just getting started. Until next time, keep daring to grow and shine.